Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. There's a problem with this bracket right here, and I got to get it fixed today. Alright, let me show you what I think happened. Okay, on this particular hole, when the dirt guy was drilling the hole, he started out in the right area and then he hit a huge rock or the top of the cliff down below, and it moved the auger way out of position. So when I was putting the tubes in, this is the tube here, when I was putting the tube in, I cocked it slightly, and then also the hole was way too deep. I cocked it slightly, and I actually notched this bottom so I could do that. I notched it like this to go around the rock, and I filled the outside with gravel, and it stayed just fine. Then it was a couple days before the concrete got here, and when the concrete did get here, as he was coming in, he went right next to this. I didn't notice anything happen, but I believe something did happen. I believe this tube sunk the rest of the way down. It was about 4 inches, because that's about what it's off. So now I believe this tube is down at the bottom. What I believe happened is, as that big concrete truck went right next to this, that shifted everything. The gravel poured down into the bottom. I don't think the whole bottom was filled, and I think the tube slid down. So when the concrete guy pulled in, he pulled in right next to this, and that was fairly loose gravel, and I believe this sunk down. He pulled back and filled the back ones back there, and then he had to pull out again and reposition. And he mentioned at the time that he needed to be further away from this one because he was afraid it was going to collapse. So he probably felt something as he was pulling in, and that's why he said that. But whatever it was that happened, I'm going to have to get this fixed, and I don't think it's going to be that hard. After the first rain, this had a good deal of settling, as did the two down there, the two on this side of the hydrant there. Those were the real sloppy holes, and those go straight up and down. I'm not worried about them, but I'm going to check all of these with the laser level. You can just look down this row and see that all of those are in real good shape. This one is the only problem. So I have this handy tamper attachment for my rotary hammer. I watered this down yesterday to loosen up the soil and let it settle again. What I'm going to do is tamp the heck out of this, add some more gravel, tamp it again, and then I'm going to deal with that bracket. Alright, that is enough power tamping for right now. I'm going to let the sun dry this stuff out a little bit, and then I'll go at it again later. I'm going to set this string up, get it nice and taut, and get the actual location where this bracket's going to be. Then I have to make some decisions over here. I have it figured out already, but I have to figure out exactly where everything's going to go. Let me just show you this again real quick. I believe the way this was cocked in there, that this gravel just built up on top of the rock and left an open area down here. And the tube slipped down when the truck went by, but that open area was probably still there. Then, after the rain washed a lot of the gravel down into that open area. But I do believe, once they poured the concrete in here, even if this tube wasn't to the bottom of the hole would have got filled up. The bottom of the hole would have filled up like that, and it would have still left an open area. And I believe that's why the gravel shrunk down so much after the rain. Now, with me adding gravel and tamping it, I believe this thing is going to be perfectly stable once I'm done. Then I should be able to do my fix and not have to worry about any settling later. Alright, with the string line up, you can see that it's about a 1/4 inch away from this bracket, 1/4 inch away from this bracket, 1/4 inch away from the corner bracket over there, and about 3/4 of an inch away from the bracket here. But the big deal is that it slipped down. You could see how far away that tube is from the string. All of these are pretty much exactly 4 inches down from the string. This is about 8 inches. So what I got to do is cut this bracket off, put another chunk of tube on top of this. I'm going to do some rebar and stuff, and then fill that with concrete, and then I'm going to use a different kind of bracket on top of that. I need to get this string on right here, then I can double check this as well. But what I really need it for, the intersection between the strings, I got to measure from there over to the center of that and make sure that I'm getting the repair in the exact correct spot. And on this, I just tamped again. I'm going to let that dry out a bit. What I'm going to do is run to town and get a new bit. I'm just going to go to the local town. I was going to run rebar through here, but that's way too close to the top. This line is about where the new form is going to go. So I think I'm going to go back here, because the new bracket, the holes go like right here, and I don't want that getting in the way. If I start drilling the holes for the new bracket, I don't want to hit rebar down in there. So I'm going to cut this off right here, drill a hole here on both sides, put some rebar through there, and I'll put a few anchors in here, and that should be really good. And before I forget, on the way to town, there's a huge sand pile from where they dredged the Mississippi. I'm going to grab some sand, and I'm going to wet it and put that around this outside, and that's what's going to hold my form. So I'll be able to get the height exactly right, and where the new form overlaps and goes off of this, I can taper the edge so that it won't get any uplift when there's frost. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. Okay, funny how a couple minutes can turn into 3 days. As you can see, the wall is now done. If you look in the earlier part of this video, the wall stopped way back there somewhere, and it just had the base row in. Now it goes all the way around the corner and does its return. We'll get into that a lot more later, but today I got to get this thing finished. So what I'm going to do now, I went through and got this tamped really well. Now what I'm going to do, while the bracket is still whole, I'm going to measure down and put a hole here and a hole here, one on each side, and do that on both sides. By measuring it from the full bracket, they should line up going across. So with them 4 holes drilled, I'll cut this actually right below that, cut it on both sides, and then I'll get my sand down and get my form situated. Okay, all set. This is level in both directions, and it's almost exactly 4 inches down from the line like all these other ones were. The new bracket is about the same width as this, but it has holes on the outside, and it's going to get drilled anchors, and I believe those anchors will pass right through this concrete and into this concrete. So these pieces of rebar can't stick out into this area. This one can. It's almost a full width. And then we have this big old anchor right here. Should be very well supported. And I have some really nice concrete, so let me mix that up and get this filled. Well, right in the middle of filling this, I found out I was going to have to mix another bag. So I turned off the camera, rushed to go do that, and then people came over. I went and got my tractor from down the road, bunch of other stuff, and now it's almost dark. Oh, and I took new elevations of all the tops of the brackets. Everything is just fine, and this is going to be just fine with the new bracket on it, so all is well. I might be able to start putting in the columns tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to be doing a few calculations and stuff tonight and figure that out, but I hope to start getting some of the columns in tomorrow. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.